In a previous video, linked here, I discussed William Rowe's evidential argument from suffering. This video will assume some familiarity with that argument and will briefly discuss a response to it. This is real atheology. One of the most popular ways by which theists have pushed back against Rowe's argument is by way of a position known in the literature as skeptical theism. The skeptical in skeptical theism is not to indicate skepticism about theism. Rather, it's a skepticism about our ability to see any God-justifying reasons that may exist. Rowe's argument involves something like the following inference. Many instances of intense suffering seem gratuitous, because we cannot locate a God-justifying reason for them, and probably some instances of intense suffering actually are gratuitous. However, notice that this move from P1 to P2 is a bit of a jump. There's a hidden premise here, mainly, if there was a God-justifying reason for an instance of intense suffering, we would probably be able to locate it. It is this hidden premise that the skeptical theist is very skeptical about. If an omnipotent God exists, the skeptical theist claims, then there is an immense gap between God's knowledge of the goods that exist, of the evils that exist, and the kinds of logical connections between these things and our knowledge of all those very same things. We have no reason to expect to see God's justifying reasons if they existed. And so, generally speaking, the skeptical theist holds to something like the following. Humans are in no position to judge directly that an omnipotent and omniscient being would be unlikely to have a morally sufficient reason to permit the evils we find in the world. To illustrate this idea, think of a toddler receiving his or her immunization shots. The parent subjecting their child to this few seconds of suffering is justified because it is necessary for the much greater good of the future health of this child. Of course, typically there exists a vast chasm between the knowledge about the world that the parent has and the knowledge about the world that the toddler has. The parent understands the benefits to the toddler, and the toddler does not. From the toddler's perspective, they cannot see their parent's justifications. But notice that this hardly allows the toddler to infer that probably no such parent-justifying reason exists. The analogy then should be clear. Compared to God's omniscience, we are epistemic toddlers. The mere fact that we cannot see a God-justifying reason does not entitle us to the additional claim that therefore there probably is no God-justifying reason. This strategy does seem to undermine arguments which employ William Rowe's controversial inference, but it would be a foolish mistake to think that skeptical theism spells disaster for all evidential arguments from suffering. And so in future videos, we're going to look at ways to forward an evidential argument from suffering which is actually immune to the skeptical theist response, as well as explore some very unwelcome consequences for theists looking to adopt skeptical theism as a response to Rowe's argument. If you like this video, please click subscribe and share it with your friends on social media. Be sure to like the growing Real Atheology Facebook page, and also please consider becoming a patron of Real Atheology by contributing even just $1 per video to help me bring quality atheological content your way. Thank you for watching.